بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So we were discussing about the 18th violation of the ihram, or 18th number 18 from those things which are prohibited in the state of ihram. And uh, I don't know how to dismantle the chat here. Let me see, because it keeps popping up and it's disturbing the session. Let me see. Okay. So I hope the chat is dismantled, disabled. Uh, if you have any question, keep it for the end after we are done. Inshallah, we'll be at your service. But now, if you start putting those things, write it down in your paper, so it does not pop up all the way. Okay, let's go back. So we discussed about the 18 removal of the hair from the removal of the hair from the body, uh, either from yourself, either from someone else's body. The whole idea is to remove the hair from your the body. Even if that person was not in the state of ihram, you are not allowed to cut the hair from somebody or remove the hair from somebody, because the problem is yours, not his, that person's. Yeah, if that person is in the state of ihram and you clip off that hair, the argument is, does he get out of his ihram or not? That's the argument. But he did not commit haram if he was not knowing. The thing is that you were in the state of ihram. You should not be cutting off the hair of yours or others. Then one of the things was that this is the kafarat. We said that all the kafarat, if they were done, all the violations of ihram, sorry, all the violations of ihram, if they were done unknowingly, unintentionally, okay, there is no penalty except for 5 to 6 things we mentioned, and one of them was this hair. Okay, so if the hair falls even unintentionally, then you need to pay kafara. But the kafara will not be sheep like intentionally. No, it will be like giving handful of food to the poor. So that is number one. Giving handful of food to the poor. So that's why he said that لا بأس. I mean, ruling number 259, we said yesterday, لا بأس بسقوط الشعر من بدن المحرم غير قاصد له. He did not intend to take off the hair from his body, or clip off the hair, or pull the hair. Excuse me. So it was not intentional. It was not intentional. It was unintentional. So حال الوضوء غير قاصد, he did not intend during the wudu, أو الغسل, or the process of ghusl, doing ghusl, okay, ghusl of tawaf, ghusl of this. I mean, there are people there in the Arafat, they encounter janaba, so they go and do the ghusl of janaba, and he's in the state of ihram. Okay, he slept, got wet dream, nature, mother nature deceived him, played with him. So what can he do? So then now he has to do ghusl. Okay. So um, while he's doing, and a few hair fell down. So he said ghusl, tayammum, purification from the khabath, najasa, like while washing the stool, or washing the urine, or washing the body. You saw there was like blood here. He was washing the blood, and whoopsie daisy, hair come out. So, or pulling the strip, that bandage strip, which pulls a few hair out, you see, and it sometimes it's painful, or any kind of things which prevents the, because you have to do wudu, and you don't need now the bandage, you're cured, so you strip it off and whoopsie daisy, hairs are there. So we said that these things, they do not have any problem in it. لا بأس بسقوط شعر in these cases, because these were unintentional pulling. You did not intend to pull your hair out. Okay. So إذا حلق المحرم رأسه, ruling number 260. إذا حلق المحرم رأسه من دون ضرورة, without any necessity, he shaved his head. فكفارته شاة, the penalty will be sheep. وإذا حلقه لضرورة فكفارته شاة أو صوم 3 أيام أو إطعام 60 مسكين. So if he does shave the head intentionally, deliberately, without any necessity, without any excuse, then the penalty will be a sheep. And if he shaves it for the necessity, then there is penalty as well. But you said there's no penalty. No, let's not mix up the unknowing situation from knowing, unintentional from deliberate. If somebody does unintentionally, there's no kafara on many things except for the hair issue. There will be kafara. That's unintentionally. But here, for the case of necessity, you are doing it deliberately, intentionally. Okay, so therefore, uh, yes, لكل واحد. Okay, so that means there's a kafara. So here we have 3 cases. There's kafara: deliberately, without an excuse; deliberately, with excuse; unknowingly. In 3 cases we have kafara, because there's one of those cases where the kafara is not exempt if it was done unintentionally. Deliberately, without excuse; deliberately, with excuse; unintentionally, unknowingly, that kind of situation. So still there's kafara in this case. Let's see. صوم 3 أيام أو إطعام 6 مساكين, sorry, أو إطعام 6 مساكين. So either you penalty of sheep, or fast 3, or so it's an optional, so you don't have to spend like $200, for example. Okay, but some people, they say, no, I'd rather pay 200 and I can't fast, like. Or feed 60 poor. 60 poor, how much that will be? That will be like, if $1 per person, $60, unless if it was $2, then it will be $120. So still it will be cheaper than, because this is how people think. Most of the people, not that. There are some people, they say, no, I'll just pay sheep. It's going to go to the poor. You're feeding poor. You're feeding your 60 poor. Maybe by giving sheep, you might be able to give more poor. Okay. So either slaughtering a sheep, either 3 days, or 3 days fasting, or 6 days, uh, feeding 6 poor. Not 60, sorry, I got messed up. Sorry. Because it's the kafara, all that, the 60 poor of holy month of Ramadan is embedded in the mind. Sitta, not sittin, sittata masakin. إطعام ستة مساكين. So for kafaratu, again, shat, sheep, fasting 3 days, or feeding 6 poor. Yeah, so then you have like two cheap options, or one good juicy option, which is like feeding so many poor, or feeding 6 poor. It depends on our generosity. لكل واحد. Okay, these 6 poor, how 6 poor people, how will we give them? لكل واحد مدان من الطعام. مدان means 1.5 kg of food, rice, lentil, um, wheat, barley, whatever is considered food, 1.5 kg. Mud is 3/4 kg. Muddan, 2 muds, okay, are 1.5 kgs. So basically, every poor لكل واحد, everyone is given muddan, 2 muds. That means 1.50 kgs of food من الطعام. Okay, let's say if there was some people, they have itchy problem in their armpit, okay, both armpit. So he just plucked the hair. He said, I did not shave, I did not cut, I just took a tweezer and pluck, 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 pluck. He's sitting there in the ihram, in the Arafat. He doesn't know what to do. He cannot focus on the dua, this and that. He said, okay, I have a tweezer. Let me just, while I'm sitting, why to waste time? So he plucked off all his hair from both armpits. وإذا نتف المحرم شعره النابت تحت إبطيه فكفارته الشاط. Congratulations. You have now a penalty of sheep. Okay. So kafaratu shat, penalty of sheep, because he plucked all the natafa. Natafa means plucking. Okay. وإذا نتف المحرم, wow, that must be ouchy, so painful. وإذا نتف المحرم شعره تحت إبطيه فكفارته شاط. Then the كفارة is sheep. وكذا إذا نتف أحد إبطيه على الأحوط وجوبا. So what about if one of the armpits were done? Is it like half sheep? No, full sheep on the basis of obligatory precaution. So the evidence is a bit shady. So that's why Sayyid Damadullah uses precautionary measures. Just give one sheep if you um, if you if you pluck off the hair from one of the armpits, not both. Okay, what about وإذا نتف شيئا من شعر لحيته أو غيرها فعليه أن يطعم مسكينا بكف. So he needs to, kaf means hand, like أعطي kaf means slap him. But here kaf means handful of food. So let's say if he's like, he saw one white hair, he doesn't like to become a whitish early. One white hair came out. I know some of the youth, whenever they see one white hair, just they pluck it off. Okay. So this guy, he was doing ihram. I don't know how did he saw in the mirror or something, or there was one hard hair. It was bothering him among the soft hairs. So he just plucked it off. So وإذا نتف شيئا من شعر لحيته أو غيرها, if he plucks one hair out from his beard or any other place in his body, فعليه أن يطعم مسكينا بكف. So he needs to feed one poor handful of food من الطعام. ويجري مجرى الحلق والنتف في الموارد المتقدمة ما يفيد فائدتها. And he says similar rule is applied, okay, ويجري مجرى الحلق والنتف. So he mentioned the rules of shaving and rules of plucking the hair. So shaving and plucking, the rules of shaving and the rules of plucking mentioned previously are going to be applied on any methods of removing the hair on the basis of obligatory precaution. Okay? So on the basis of obligatory precaution, um, the kafara, this what he says that whatever we mention from the rules of kafara, penalty of shaving and penalty of plucking, is going to be applied on any methods which are used. Like for example, they brought some hair removal cream and they patched it here, and then after 5 minutes, it just all the hair came out. Okay. Any method. Nowadays they have this pen, the pen, I don't know, electric pen, epiciliter or epiliter. They just put like this and they pluck off your hair. Not pluck, it just like uh, takes away the hair. So and there are so many methods, okay? I'm not here to advertise the methods. I'm just saying any method. Is there the rules of shaving and the rules of plucking will be applied on whatever method you use. But is there any evidence for that? That's why, as an obligatory precaution. So the penalties which mentioned previously in this ruling is going to be applied. ولا كفارة في حلق المحرم رأس غيره محرما كان أو محلا. Remember, if you cut the hair of someone else who was muhrim, you'll pay kafara. If he was not muhrim, you'll pay kafara. Sorry, it is not allowed for you, not kafara. It is prohibited for you it is prohibited for you to cut cut the hair of someone else, even if that else was not muhrim. But is there any penalty if I cut the hair of someone else? He says no. You committed haram when you shave off someone else's head and you are still muhrim. You committed haram, but there is no kafara. ولا كفارة في حلق المحرم رأس غيره, and there's no penalty in shaving the muhrim, the head of someone else. غير محرما كان أو محلا. ولا كفارة في حلق المحرم. If a person who is in the state of ihram, he shaves the head of someone else who is muhrim or not muhrim, in muhil, there is no penalty in this case. The penalty is if you have the if you do it on yourself. So you do it on yourself, haram. You do it with others' head, haram. But if others had no kafara, yours kafaras were mentioned. لا بأس بحك المحرم رأسه ما لم يقطع الشعر عن رأسه. If you want, you have an itchy lice. Remember lice phenomena, the transformation of the lice from one head to another head, and you start having itchy. Why? Because they start biting. They start biting the head. So so once they start biting your head, you feel itchy. They're feeding blood now. They're party. They're party of blood on your head has become party of the lice. Okay, you are in a very desperate situation in Arafat, and they're partying on your head because there's so much sweat, so much food to eat, and so much filth accumulated on the head. And when so this is the food of the insects. Many of the insects they feed on these. So anyhow, and but these lice they're pampered and spoiled. They want your blood. So and then you start itching. So once that itch happens, the lice is moved, and you keep itching, and then whoopsie daisy, hair falls out, and then you have to pay kafara. But it was not intentional. Yes, but we said that in this case, you did something intentionally. However, it was not like it was something you like necessity or something like that. لا بأس بحكل. So this is somebody wants to itch his head. There's no problem in itching his head as long as a hair does not fall off. ما لم يقطع الشعر عن رأسه. As long as it does not cut off the hair from his head. وما لم يدمه. There's another prohibition according to some scholars, that bleeding. So if bleeding happens, that's also problematic situation in the state of ihram. So two things: itch, but do not let a hair fall off by itching, or the bleeding happens. As long as the two things are not encountering, you can. وكذلك البدن. The same thing is for the body. You itch on your chest, or you itch on your neck or beard, and then the hair falls off. So what is the penalty? We said this one of the things even if it was unknowingly, unintentionally, you did not intend that your whole hair to fall off. وإذا أمر المحرم يده على رأسه أو لحيته عبثا. It was not needed. It was not necessary. You see? So you just did like this. Whoopsie daisy, hair fell out, or hair came out. Uh, one hair or more falls off. Then what is the penalty? فليتصدق بكف من الطعام. So you should pay charity to the poor, one handful of food. And whenever we say you have to feed food, you have to feed food. You cannot give money. Except in Zakat al-Fitra, that's an exceptional case. That Zakat al-Fitra, the food can be replaced by money. That's why people, they take off money. But in these cases, food means food. One handful of food means one handful. What about if I go and give money to the people in Iraq or Pakistan or these poor people? Okay, so that is poor. I mean, I gave them money instead of 1.25 kg of food. I gave them like $1 or something like that. Excuse me, or €1 or £1, whatever currencies. All the currencies are supporting oppression nowadays. So I don't know what currency you should mention. Tuman. Okay. So let's say amount of three-quarter kgs of three-quarter kgs of food to the poor. No amount food, but you want me to take like a fill my car with food and go houses of poor if I can't find houses? No, you don't have to do that. You can give the money to someone who could provide food. Like there are organizations like Al Ain, they collect money and they give food on your behalf. So the food is given to the poor. But there's an agency or institutions, orphanages, all these places, if you give them money, okay, they will buy food and give them food. So you don't have to. You either you do give food or either let someone else give them money, they can give food. But you cannot give food money to the poor. They have to get food. وأما إذا كان فليتصدق بكف من الطعام. So you should give charity to the poor, handful of food. That's about less than half kgs, but just keep it three-quarters, keep it one mud, to be a safe side, because some people, they have gigantic hands like those. If you put food in this hand, it will be 1 kgs, and some people, they have mini hands, so they're 10 grams. So this is an average kaf. So take some rice or take some food and put it on the scale and see how much. Because if you are continuously doing this, then you need to have a measure, but the Sharia said food. That means you put your hand in the box, as long as it's clean and not picked your nose and whatever. Okay, because you don't want to give poor filthy stuff. So you wash your hands and dry it, and then put your hand and take it out and give it to the poor. Nowadays, it's not practical, okay? Unless if some poor comes to you and tells you, please, I need your help, and this and that. Okay, I'll be back. And he expects you to give money, and you go back and you bring a handful of food. Okay, do you have any bag or plastic bag, or I can put this food? I want money. What will I do with food and raw food? I mean, you want me to get stomach ache? My stomach is not a grinder. Anyhow, so وأما إذا كان في الوضوء ونحو فلا شيء عليه. So now let's divide this kafara into sequence. Starting from the major, intentionally. So we said there is sheep. Okay. Either you shave, either you cut, either you, what they say, pluck, or any other means on the basis of obligatory precaution. This was, we said, if it was intentionally and deliberately. What if it was unintentionally, like for the necessity case? Okay, there are disease and you need to remove. There are ants, you need to, not ants, lice. So you just need to shave off your head. You are annoyed. So pay a sheep. Okay, So necessity, no necessity. What's the difference? I'm paying penalty. Yeah, the difference is in if you don't have necessity, you're committing haram. You have necessity, you're not committing haram. Huge difference. There you need to do istighfar plus kafara. Here you don't need to do istighfar because you have excuse. But kafara you do because that's according to the indications of the narrations. So that is the case of what? The deliberately, intentionally. Then we have the case, so unintentionally, sheep. Out of necessity, intentionally, sheep. Um, out of just yeah, just putting your hair, itching this and that. For anything other than wudu, a handful of food. For one hair, no. In general, one hair or a few hair fell down. What many mominin they do when they come back hometown, they just get 5 kgs of food, rice, and give it to the poor families. Okay, you can give it to one family. So this it's not a, as long as it's not say the like six poor, that means you have to give six poor, share to six poor. But if it doesn't say, you can give to one poor 5 kgs, 2 kgs, whatever. If you're hairy berry, you may consider giving 10 kgs, because some of the youth, they were Sheikh, I just look here, a hair here, a hair here, a hair here. So why? Because I'm a, put the ihram, like, see, like Superman, not like Superman. My body is packed with hair, Sheikh. Now, what will I do? I said, okay, don't worry about it. You're not doing intentionally. What are you? No, 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 no. I'm not doing intentionally. Okay, then when you go back to your hometown, just give 5 kgs. I will give 10 kgs, but at least I'll be relieved now. So there are people, you see, they have hair keep falling down like crazy, but it's not he is doing anything. So, but he says sometimes I just do like this, not even scratch hard, and I see hair in my hand. So that hair might be off before you're doing. Okay, you don't have to. If it falls because of your action, then you pay one handful of food to the poor. However, we said one thing, that if it was wudu, tayammum, and ghusl, no penalty at all. So what does, okay, one of our brother, he has itches in his head. So he's tolerating until he hears that, oh, in the wudu is no, he just goes and does wudu. And in the wudu, he does hard itching. Hello, we said while we're doing wudu and it falls down. Not during wudu, you give hard itch and then the hair falls down. But you said it's exempt. Yes, exempt while you are doing wudu normally. Not during wudu, you start itching your your face or your beard. Yeah. Some people, they like to outsmart the Islamic laws, but you have to try harder. Okay, so now that these were the rulings about the hair, clipping of the hair or cutting of the hair. So let me just go through this ruling number 259 quickly. So لا يجوز للمحرم أن يزيل الشعر عن بدن نفسه. We said it is not permissible for someone who so to remove hair from his body or body of someone else, even if that person was not in the state of ihram, such as shaving or plucking or any other means, without any difference between, regardless of being small amount or big amount, even uh, part of one hair. Like you have this hair, okay, you have this strand of hair, okay, you just cut a piece of hair, this one. I did not cut the whole hair. Yeah, so he says بعض الشعر الواحد, some of the hair as well. Like I take one hair. Okay. So this tasbih is hairy. Don't tell me whose hair is blue. Okay, so clip off. Okay. What if I clip this much? This much. Kafara. What if I clip this much? Like just tiny. Kafara. Intentionally, deliberately, kafara. So that's why he says even part of the hair. Okay. Uh, when we come to the questions, uh, let's say if he does wudu mustahab. So the question is it permissible for a person who's doing mustahab wudu and his fair hair falls off while doing the masah, or while trying to wipe off the wetness on the head? You see, wiping the wetness of the head to do massage is important. As I said, if you have to wipe, then you can't cover the whole head. Just do this wiping, okay, without covering the head. Because even a cell phone, as we said, you cannot. We are going to talk about this covering the head in our next ruling. But at this point, we are just trying to see the ruling of the so you have wetness here and you want to do masah. How can you do masah? You have to wipe. And now, whoopsie daisy, hair fell off while drying your head with this towel or whatever small amount. Even you don't have to, like, you take a small tissue paper, very small, minimize. The necessities are to made minimize, okay? So let's take this much coverage of head will happen. So if I just do like this and it wipes, then don't take more than this. So minimize your wiping of the head. Okay. Um, so هل يجوز الوضوء المستحب مع العلم بسقوط شعرات من موضع المسح من الرأس عند تنشيف إذا كان مبللا? If the head was wet, is it permissible while doing recommended wudu and knowing that some hair will fall off while doing mash, while wiping the head, and during the drying of the head if it was wet? Okay, he says it's permissible. Is it permissible to do wudu mustahab knowing that some of the hair will fall off while while doing mash, wiping of the head, and drying it from the wetness? Question number two. إذا علمت المحرمة. Okay, now you know when a female, you see, she's wearing hijab and she's wearing maqna and there's elastic around the maqna, okay? So what happens when she's removing the maqna? She's removing the maqna, the elastic might have captured a few hair, so it pulls the hair out. So can she remove the maqna'a? Maqna'a means the veil, okay? Qina'a of the face, covering of the face. So he says yes, it's permissible to remove it. Uh, what is the ruling of falling of the hair? Uh, Again, we mentioned this during purification. It's permissible. There's no problem in it. إذا حلق المحرم رأس غيره أو قصر غيره. If somebody shaves off the head of someone else or does clips off someone's hair in the taqsir process, okay? I'll shaving or I clipping of the hair. Both cases of someone else's hair, okay? Shaving of someone else's head or clipping off someone else's hair. Will there be any penalty? He says no, there'll be no penalty. Uh, but yes, obviously, intentionally have committed haram. إذا كان الحاج حلاقا, as I said, the people, they're barbers. Okay, they're barbers. They come for Hajj, and that caravan becomes very glad that they have a barber with them. So إذا كان الحاج حلاقا يجوز له أن يحلق رأس غيره قبل أن يقصر أو يحلق لنفسه. Is it permissible for him to shave off other people's head before doing his own taqsir, or shaving before he's clipping off his own hair, or shaving, or before exiting before exiting his own ihram by clipping off hair or shaving And if so, if it is not permissible, then what is the kafara? What is the penalty? He says it is not permissible for him if he is not exited the state of ihram. It is not permissible for him to shave off or clip off somebody else's head. Walakin, however, there is no kafara, no penalty on him. And finally, the last question: إذا مكن المحرم غيره من إزالة شعر بدنه فهل تثبت على الكفارة؟ If a muhrim إذا مكن المحرم غيره, a muhrim person tells him, you shave my head, you shave my head, okay? من إزالة شعر بدني, or you take the hair off my body. So will there be any kafara? I did not take off the hair from my body, okay? I did not take off. I asked someone to take off this hair from my body. It's annoying. So will there be any kafara on this? Yes, there will be kafara. نعم إذا صدق عليه التسبيب إليها. Yes, if it is considered that he caused it, that you are the cause. إذا مكن المحرم, if a person who is in the state of ihram gives the authority or makes someone else remove hair from his body, will there be any penalty? He said yes, there will be any penalty on him. But that person was not muhrim. That's fine. You allowed him to do that. You made him do that. So there'll be kafara on you. But let's say you did not know, or you did not know the ruling or something, and he came and did he did the shaving of your head. Then it depends on all those ruling we said. What was the case? We had 4 cases. 3 of them were penalty, 1 was not penalty. But for the one who shaved the head of someone else, or cut the hair of someone else, okay, or clipped the hair of someone else, there is no penalty for that person if he is in the state of ihram. But sin he has committed if it was intentional. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Tomorrow is the 19th, and that's the biggest, and we will be done with the prohibitions of ihram, because all the others are small cases. The biggest case I am seeing is the traveling under shaded means of transportation. Uh, Inshallah, because once we are done with this was a lengthy chapter, and the lengthiest was the introduction. But then we have all the ahkam, like tawaf. Rulings of tawaf are the lengthiest. And rule of sa'i, easy. Safa, marwa, easy. Sa'i, taqsir, easy. Staying in Arafat, easy. Muzdalifah, easy. Not so many rules. The plenteous rule are for tawaf and this traveling under the shaded means of transportation or covering the head, because these 3 things are very complex and very